for joining another episode of Coffee with Scott. Scott Hayes here. I'm Tyler Kastner is going to lead the discussion today. Today we're going to talk about setting retirement goals and getting ready for retirement as it comes up in our later years. Good, Scott?
Good.
Cool.
Let's go.
So let's start off with kind of setting retirement goals, importance of doing that, kind of what you should be expecting and doing for that.
For sure, yeah. It's hard to hit a target if you don't know where you're aiming, right? And so we always advise, we have a program called mock retirement that we advise clients that are nearing retirement to go through, where you sit down, put together a budget, think about everything you might need to spend in retirement, and then restrict yourself to that for a period of at least 3 months, if not more, just to understand what it's going to take.
Awesome, cool. And then kind of change train a little bit, maximizing your retirement accounts. Like, what types of things should people be utilizing, types of vehicles they should be utilizing, things like that?
Sure. Well, more than half the people in America anyway have access to an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Those are usually very tax-efficient ways to save for retirement. Oftentimes the fees are lower than what you could get by buying, like an IRA or something on your own because of the power of the group. Participating in the retirement plan from an early age is absolutely critical. People ask how much you should save. I've never had anybody reach retirement and say, geez, I wish I hadn't saved so much money, right? I mean, the more you can put away, the more you're going to have at the end of the day. As a rule of thumb, you should always participate up to at least the amount that your employer matches, because that's free money. You can't beat the return on that, right? If you're getting matched 50 cents on the dollar, that's 50% of your money in return before you've ever invested any, penny of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, along those lines, you tell people how much they should be trying to save, and what should they be doing with that money while they're saving? What types of things should be doing?
Right. Well, talk to your advisor. Everybody's situation is different, but typically the younger a person is, the more time they have to invest, the more allocation they should probably have towards equity type investments. Inside of retirement plans, usually you're not asked to pick and choose individual stocks or bonds or anything like that, but you're using a vehicle called a mutual fund, or sometimes now a collective trust, which a version of mutual funds are just a little bit cheaper, that automatically build a diversified portfolio for you that is appropriate, age appropriate along the way as you get older and safer, towards those later years.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. Perfect. Kind of side note here, let's talk about maybe kind of healthcare, long-term care planning, stuff like that, like things that people should be thinking about way later.
Yeah. So we've recently been to school on Medicare planning and learned a lot. And there are, at a minimum, it's going to cost every retiree something like $174 a month for the rest of their life, just for the Part A and B coverage. It can be many times higher than that, depending on income and so forth. I think it's Fidelity Investments. They come out periodically with an estimate on how much retirement or how much healthcare is going to cost over a course of your retirement years, and it's a staggering number. It's $250,000, $300,000. So when you're saving for retirement, you not only have to allocate for what you're going to need to live on, but also what you're going to need to allocate to keep you alive, pay for your healthcare. Yeah,
that makes sense. So kind of along those lines, let's say someone does save enough, they've gone through long-term care and everything, and now they have to worry about estate care, estate planning, things like that. What should they be paying attention for that?
For sure, yeah. It varies by state, but everybody should have a minimum of a will, right? So that you don't have to go through probate, for your life savings. And the number one thing that we encourage people to do is make sure you keep those beneficiaries up to date. I've seen a few instances where somebody's died and it was an ex-spouse or somebody that ends up getting the money that they'd worked all their lives for, and just because you get married or you have a life-changing circumstance doesn't mean that it's going to update automatically. So you have to keep those beneficiaries updated.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Kind of adapting to changing circumstances while you're saving for retirement. How do you advise people on staying flexible, kind of moving around with retirement?
Sure. I always recommend that you pay yourself first, right? Life is always going to throw us curveballs. There's always going to be unexpected expenses. And part of that paying yourself is just the creation of an emergency fund, right? There are often times when we don't advise people to take their first dollar and put it in their employer's retirement plan, but instead they need to build an emergency savings account so you're not forced to you have a blown out tire, whatever, you have to put it onto a credit card.
And then, obviously you're the expert here, right? And we want to hear your insight, but what other things are you hearing kind of out in the industry that you would advise people that they should be knowing, tips, tricks, things like that?
Yeah, I think one of the most important is the different methods for saving for retirement. There's this wonderful invention called the Roth. They have a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k. And what that allows you to do is build tax diversification. You always talk about diversification of investments, but if you allocate money into a Roth and you have your employer matches, you pre-tax, you put in money pre-tax as well, just the ability to draw down different buckets of money that have different tax consequences is something that can be very important in terms of maximizing or minimizing taxes in retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of to close us out here, we talked about a lot of different stuff in retirement. What types of things would you want to send everybody away with here that you think would be most beneficial?
Yeah, I really think, I work personally with several retirees that making that transition from working full-time into retirement is unbelievably daunting. It's something that we don't know how to do it, right? We've grown up working our entire lives, and all of a sudden we're put in this position where we're not drawing a paycheck anymore. So we may reach our peak financial net worth status at that date of retirement, and just thinking about what you want to do and having a purposeful life in retirement. Whether that's maybe working part-time, maybe volunteering for charity. You have to do something to keep active, once you stop going to work. And I think that that's critically important. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. Well, Scott, I appreciate the time today. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hope you took some good points away, and hopefully you can subscribe, follow us, and get some more good information from Scott next time.
Thank you, Tyler.
Cool.